Hey, YouTube, let's do this. Back to nature, climbing higher. Woods are thick, hiking alone. Hear a tree crack, loud as gunfire. Stops you cold, chill to the bone. Hear the growling, turn to howling. Something's prowling, just out of sight. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. The forest has fallen silent. The mountains dark. The moon is full. Catch the black shape of a giant, 8 feet tall, unbelievable. Your heart is pounding, huge steps are bounding. Your hope is drowning in the fading light. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. Oh, hell yeah. Run for your life. Step it up. Your fear is growing. Red eyes are glowing. You might die knowing those folk were right. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. Beast in the Hey, everybody, welcome to Squatch Talk. I'm Pat. How's everybody doing tonight? Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. So yeah, man, I'm just gonna jump straight in, start talking about this open invitation and like what it's about, what it means to me, and what I think needs to be properly discussed to begin to move the ball down the field, because that's important to me. So basically, this is this revolves around the what I'll call the research community, which is people, a certain number of people who actively go out in the woods trying to get some kind of something, dirt on Bigfoot, if you will. It varies. There's different levels of sort of goals with these people. But basically, you researchers and especially the researchers that are very active in the public sphere of the Bigfoot community. Um, because I think it's time to have a more serious discussion. Um, as a whole, I mean, I'm not gonna call any individuals out, but as a whole, really, it's just all I'm seeing is narrative and rhetoric. That's it. So I want to have a different conversation, and the conversation I want to have revolves around evidence. And what evidence is there? What evidence are you, as a researcher, what evidence are you bringing to the table, and or could bring to the table, and why and how? Not narrative, not rhetoric. Um, but real evidence. How do we move the ball down the field? You know, and so this is sort of an open invitation to start having those discussions, which for some of these people, or hell, any of them, really, uh, it's going to be a different kind of discussion. Um, one that you're not used to. But I think it's important to have, and important to have in a fair way. So this is, it's not a you're full of crap thing, but it's also not, oh wow, that's amazing. You know, like this is about real evidence. And so let me kind of set up the parameters for that, which is that I'm not talking about number one, anecdote. Not talking about anecdote, anything anecdotal, because that's not evidence. As compelling as it may be, and I get that anecdote has its place. I know people who have had Bigfoot encounters, man, and some pretty crazy ones. Um, some of these people are, close to me. I consider friends. So I get that anecdote has its place, but anecdote at the end of the day, no matter what, is not evidence of anything. So anecdote doesn't count. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for more stories. Um, Also, what I call trace evidence, because it is footprints, hair, things like that. Any of that potential. Um, Tracks can be faked. Tracks can be faked. They have been faked in the past. Um, Hair can easily be misidentified. Like all that stuff has happened. So trace evidence, although some of it may be Bigfoot related, you know, isn't evidence. It's only trace evidence. So it's not powerful evidence. It's not something that's going to discover a new species. It's just not. Again, 50 plus years, those things have been found over that time, and it's not evidence. So I'm not talking about trace evidence, not talking about anecdote, talking about real evidence. Do you have any? Can you have any? Do you have a plan to get real evidence? Um, Past those two things. And again, I think that's the discussion that needs to happen. It's kind of I'm trying to challenge some of these people, but in a healthy way, because again, I think it's important, to move the ball down the field. We've been on the 5 yard line now since '67, and it was Roger and Bob that put us on the 5 yard line. We're still there. The ball hasn't moved 1 inch down the field since then. And what has happened since then is a certain number of people. It's actually not that many, relatively speaking, but still, certain number of people have been marching around in the woods, boots on the ground, trying to get evidence. 100%. That's been happening for 50 years now, and it's probably happening more than it ever has. And our technology's gotten better. So, you know, a lot of guys and gals out there marching around trying to get that magic moment like Roger and Bob did, and it's not happening. So so I think that's the importance of like the lack of data and the lack of evidence is data, right? So we have data that shows, well, this isn't working, you know, and I have my own theories about that. I think it's just real personal with a lot of people, and in however cool it is and exciting it is for you to find a track or what you think is a track, you know, that may be great and personal for you, but that does nothing for understanding the phenomena. So if you're a person who believes or thinks or is convinced that, these Bigfoot, Sasquatch things that we call are, absolutely 100% flesh and blood, you know, undiscovered upright walking hominins, then I want to have this conversation with you. And I want to have a lot of these conversations, as many as I can, as many as people that are willing to have it and beyond and take it to even higher levels. So this is kind of an open invite to introduce that idea and that kind of discussion because I'm going to be wearing the skeptic hat. I'm going to be wearing it. It's not going to be the accepting, like all accepting discussions that you're used to on podcasts. We're it's not going to be that. It's also not going to be some hard ass thing, or unfair thing. It's just that the discourse needs to be better, and these things have to be addressed because once again, what I'm seeing right now is a ton of rhetoric, and that's it. It's just words, man. No evidence. And I do see a lot of instances where people completely get their facts wrong. So it's all over the map, Like some people, I'm like, man, you got a bad filter. You're just fooling yourselves. Other people, I'm like, you know, you're you're not quite there yet. It's all over the place. Um, but something has to change because 50 plus years, we have no more evidence than we did that day in 67, which was a trifecta of evidence. If you put it all together, and it just can't, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. There has to be fresh ideas. There has to be new strategy, and well, I think the most important thing is a completely different mentality. I think that's part of the problem. But that's what I think. If you disagree, let's have that talk. I think I can back up what I'm saying. And if you think you got something to bring to the table and you could back it up, then great. I'm all ears. I truly am. Very open-minded person, actually. Um, but the point is that I'm willing to have a discussion no matter what. Again, outside of like not talking about obvious hoaxers or anything like that. That would be a completely different kind of show. Like I'll talk to you too, you obvious hoaxers. No, I'm talking about like actually fairly reasonable people that for whatever reason, you know, just they can't bring any evidence to the table. And maybe they think they're bringing evidence to the table. Well, if you think you have evidence, bring it to me and I'll vet it. But I will be wearing that skeptic hat. Which is not a bad word. It's not a bad attitude. It's not a bad way of thinking. You know, I'm willing to consider what you have, but I'm not going to believe in what you have because you sell it well with your words. Like that's not going to fly with me. I need evidence because I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to understand better why this phenomena is happening. What's causing it? What is it? What's behind it? You know? And so for that, we have to have evidence. That's just, the way it has to go. Even if it comes in the form of better pictures, better video, longer video, better, like the PG film times 100, PG film times 1,000. Hell, right now I'll take the PG film times 10 because I'm extremely compelled by the PG film the way it is and the way it's been like responsibly cleaned up, stabilized, things like that. It's pretty compelling to me. So do 10 times better than that. You're going to get my attention and a lot of other people's attention. So this is an open invite. And man, I've got people in mind, again, just to have discussions. This is not an ambush. This is not a shit show. I don't want anything to be a shit show. I've had these kind of discussions before with like actual big fucking topics in this world, man, that are different, way outside of Bigfoot stuff, very serious things. So I have some experience in this. So let's have it and expand upon it, and let's do it in a public forum because why not? I mean, why not make the case to the public? Why not have the discussion in front of the public? So yeah, that's what this is all about. And I will be contacting people. Again, I have people in mind. And I'll be reaching out to them. But even if I don't know you, that's why I put the email down here. So, I mean, if you know me, you probably know how to get a hold of me on Facebook. If you half-ass know me, then you can email me. And if you don't know me at all, but this lands in your lap and you're like, man, I'm down, let's do it. Email me. Again, the other thing is that, because I'm talking straight evidence, then like if you're a woo person, I don't mean that offensively, but that's what it's called. It's then supernatural woo, and you want to try and make the case for that, like you can't bring any evidence at all to the table. So like that's just your interpretation. That's not what this discussion is about. This is for Bigfoot researchers who think they're dealing with flesh and blood creatures, undiscovered primates, that are just really good at what they do. Like, I get that. That's what this is going to be about. And I'm ready to kick it off whenever. I can start tomorrow night. But let's have these discussions. I think they're important. And so that's what this is all about. And I'll be reaching out to you, and you can reach out to me. And hey, let's have some good talks, man. But thanks for watching, and we'll see what happens.
That this is part of the problem is that the people that should be doing good quality evidence aren't doing it, or they're doing very little of it. And the people, and including many skeptics, such as myself, the late Daniel Dennett, and others, were trying to help the Bigfoot community get better quality evidence, right? I'm not on your show to dismiss and debunk right. Bigfoot. I'm here to try and encourage people to do better quality evidence, so that way next year and next month, 10 years from now, people can say, well, either the evidence has not improved, that is, maybe there's no Bigfoot there, or whatever methods they're using aren't working at all. And so, I mean, that's the problem here, is that if these creatures are out there, then whatever methods are being used, such as the Skookum cast, aren't working. Not working, guys. We can all agree on this is not working. Whatever you're doing to find Bigfoot obviously isn't working. Why? Because we don't have one. So whatever techniques you're doing, whatever you're trying to do, drones, camping out, whatever, it ain't working. Do something different. So this is part of the problem. And by doing something different, it may mean better quality technology. It may mean better, more search teams. There's lots of things that you do differently. But at the same time, if those don't yield results, at some point you have to say, maybe it ain't there.